Welcome, my peeps, my peoples. Please like, comment, subscribe, share the video. It'd be greatly appreciated from the bottom of my heart, my peeps, my peoples. Peep Squad is in the building, baby. We going to the top. We're going to bring others with us. So let's get it popping. Let's get it started. Let's talk about Nicki Minaj and Joe Budden's interview. It went down. I thought these two was going to make up. When I first heard Joe Budden and his podcast, Maul and Rory, I was just like, yo, this is gonna be lit. Like, this is crazy. Like, I was like, oh, it's about time that they make up. It didn't go down like that, not at all. But Nicki Minaj has a lot on her plate. A lot was going on today for her. So let's get into it. First, let's just start off talking about, Trina, manager out here accusing Nicki Minaj not doing enough to promote their song together, their song Baps, and basically said Nicki Minaj acts like she's cool with you, she wants to do music with you, and she's down with you, and whatever the case may be, but she's not trustworthy, she pulls stunts, she's not cool, she tries to get over on people, she's fake, she's lame, she's a liar, she's a follower, and all she wants is likes and all types of stuff. And basically, Trina's manager was out here just saying that Nicki Minaj is the deceiver, a manipulator, and she is just not cool. And Megan the Stallion, she needs to watch out and watch her back, because she's really not cool and she's not really trying to help you. I was like, damn, how is that going on? Because Nicki Minaj has been out here promoting Trina for years, even before they did a song together and everything like that. And now this is what happens. Damn, I know Nicki Minaj feel a certain type of way, and she did, because she said it. She said she can't believe that the people that she helped hurt her the most. And she was just feeling like, damn, Trina, not my girl, not my dog. I just know, I was like, damn, I didn't even know Trina felt this way. And I don't know if Trina doing a song with Nicki Minaj was going to help her in any type of way, because just the way that Trina was on Love and Hip Hop, Miami, it wasn't a good look for her. Being on that show wasn't a good look for her, because she let another girl call, black people N-words, and then her cousin was running amok over her, and then she was going at it with Trick Daddy. It just didn't seem like this was a good look for her to be on Love and Hip Hop Miami. Like, it didn't show her skills or anything like that. And then her wigs, the way she looked, her wigs, like, I don't know who kept doing her makeup and her wigs, but, it wasn't really that of a great look for Trina to be on Love and Hip Hop Miami, and that's why the show was canceled. Not because of Trina, but just probably because of the ratings. But I would say Trina did bring a lot to the game. She is a legend, and she did bring a lot to the show when she talked about, things that go on in the industry with women. But she waited till second season to get there, or whatever the case may be. So I don't know if Nicki Minaj would have promoted Trina's song Baps and kept promoting it, would it had, went anywhere. Nicki Minaj said that she supported her, that yes, she did post her songs. I did see her post, Baps and talk about Baps. And Nicki Minaj even had Trina on her radio show, Queen Radio, whatever the case may be. But I was just like, damn. So it seems like they ain't friends no more, and it's gonna be what it's gonna be. I was just like, damn, that shit is crazy. So, but we gotta move on. Nicki Minaj is like, damn, she done had a lot of shit going on too as well. I was just like, yo, for real. I'm like, yo, this is crazy. Especially, a lot of people was upset with Nicki Minaj because she liked a tweet that said black girl tragic, basically talking about, black girls that are jealous of Nicki Minaj, or females that are jealous of other black females, whatever the case may be. People feel like Nicki Minaj should have never retweeted it or liked that tweet whatsoever. If that's the case, that she shouldn't have said that, because, she has a big platform. Nicki Minaj was like, I don't care. Anybody that comes at me and leave negativity on my page, I'm going to get at them. I'm going to call them ugly. I'm going to call them this. I'm going to call them that. It seems like she took a page out of Chris Brown's book, because that's what Chris Brown was doing not too long ago, when he was accused of having colorist issues. I was just like, It's going down like you won't believe it. And this is the cipher that Joe Budden and Nicki Minaj was at. And then basically they did talk about the cipher. Nicki Minaj was like, Joe Budden was probably jealous of her at the cipher and the whole 9 yards, because, she's a top female and she basically had bars, and everybody was looking at Nicki Minaj, and it was a big light on her. Maul actually brought this up, because he was like, Joe was trying to get the mic or the cigarette out your hand or something like that, or whatever the case may be. So I was just like, yo, this is just just way too much going on. I was like, Nicki was doing the damn thing today though, but her and Joe Buttons went at it, and it started off when she was calling, DJ Academics, Joe Budden's sidekick or whatever the case may be, and said, you guys were talking about me. You guys were talking about me, saying that you knew what went down on Motorsports, that I did not know that, Cardi B was actually going to be on the song. And so Nicki Minaj was like, that is totally a lie. That's not true. You think me, Nicki Minaj, I wouldn't know who's going to be on the song? And I explained to everybody, I explained to the world what happened with Motorsport. And I told y'all that I was called. They told me that could Cardi B be on a song or whatever the case may be. Nicki Minaj said yes, she can be. I don't have a problem with it. And basically Nicki Minaj said she addressed the situation, but Joe Buttons, you kept saying that she was lying, and so was DJ Academics. Moore was like, I don't even watch that show, so I don't know what happened. And basically she was like, I told you guys what happened. I told the world what happened, what went down with Motorsport, and you still called me a liar. You still was on your show, The Complex, on Complex, when Joe Buttons was on Complex, and DJ Academics and Joe Buttons were talking about the Motorsport situation. I believe DJ Academics and, Joe Buttons end up getting some information, because they're industry people, and whatever information they got, they used it on the show, whatever the case may be. Everybody wants clicks and views regardless, especially if you get a trusted source. It is what it is. But Nicki Minaj was like, you accused me of lying, saying that that's not true. You accused me, and you just kept running with the story that I did not know that, Cardi B was going to be on Motorsport. She was like, come on, you said I'm intelligent, Joe. You said I'm smart, I'm business, whatever, the blase and the third. But yeah, I'm telling you what the case was, and you don't believe me. And you and your sidekick, DJ Academics, kept on running with it. So miss me with the bullshit. Anyways, it's going to be a hot girl summer, Nicki Minaj. And so we had that situation, and so then Joe was like, nah, I didn't say it like that. I didn't say that. You know how Joe Buttons like to talk. He doesn't really give yes or no answers. He wanted to actually, defend himself by saying that this is, industry stuff. This is how it was presented to me, and this is how it looked to the public, or whatever the case may be. And sometimes you can't believe everything that artists tell you, because he was an artist. He was in the business. He worked with the big, the best, and the brightest. And so she was like, well, I told you, anything that I say that comes out of my mouth is true. Believe whatever I say, because I'm telling you the truth, and I don't need to lie about no damn thing. When it's coming out the horse's mouth, it's in, and it comes out the horse's mouth, it's the information that you need to run with. The information is coming from the source, baby. So I was just like, Joe Budden was kind of like backed up in the corner with that situation. I was just like, And so Nicki Minaj, she went and she got, the recording of Joe Buttons actually saying that, he doesn't believe that Nicki Minaj knew that, Cardi B was on the track. He was like, and Joe Budden was like, I stand by that. And she was like, and then Nicki Minaj just kept going. And he was like, let me explain myself. Let me explain it to you. Let me explain it to you why I stand by that. But Nicki Minaj was on a tyrant. She was going in like, I told you. Like, you always could accuse me of lying. And why do everybody think that I'm lying? When I tell you something, I'm telling you right now, factual to your face, and you still gonna say you stand on that. So Nicki Minaj was not feeling the situation at all. It just went downhill from there. It went downhill from the beginning when Nicki Minaj was trying to explain herself when it came down to the situation with her and Meg Thee Stallion, actually working together, meeting each other on IG, and Nicki Minaj not knowing how to use IG or whatever the case may be to go live and invite Meg Thee Stallion, onto a live, whatever. And then they talk about doing a song together. And then Nicki Minaj said it took her 4 or 5 hours, basically, to get on that track with, Hot Girl Summer with Ty Dolla Signs and Meg Thee Stallion, whatever the case may be. And she was like, it was organic because, Meg was like, I've been waiting for somebody else to get on the track, but that person is too busy, or whatever the case may be. And she was like basically saying that she wanted Nicki on the track. Nicki was like, I'm gonna hop on the track. Joe Budden said like, that's some industry shit right there. Next thing you know, the song was done. Moore said, yeah, the song was done. The next time we talked about it, the song was done. Hot Girl Summer was done, or whatever the case may be. And so Joe was like, well, now you see Meg Thee Stallion, running around with super producers and label people and all that other good stuff, that he feels like it was a rollout, it was a promotion, the song was already done, the song was already ready or whatever, and he didn't believe that it was organic the way that Nicki Minaj actually met up with Meg Thee Stallion, that they planned that this was all like, some superficial shit, and then Nicki Minaj going on and trying to explain herself about the situation. Joe felt like it was industry shit, it was put together because he's been in the industry, he knows how they roll out songs, how they roll out promotion and all that other stuff, and this is why Trina's manager is coming in, and Trina feels the same way because her manager got the okay from her to say what she needed to say, that all this promotion and this production that's going on with Meg Thee Stallion and Nicki Minaj didn't put that much work in to Trina's single that she did with Nicki Minaj, which is Baps or whatever. But Meg Thee Stallion is more of a hot artist, and she's hot on these streets or whatever, and she got music out there, and she's an up and coming rapper, so it makes more sense to put more effort in her. And plus, everybody's going to be pulling for this. A lot of people are not dealing with Trina like that. Yes, Trina is a legend, she can rap, she can do her damn thing, but for business sense and people that call the shots too as well, they're going to say, you know what, you did a song with her, that's good, Nicki, let's move forward. And so that's why Joe feels like the situation with Nicki Minaj and Meg was not organic, it was like some industry shit or whatever. And then also Joe Buttons, did talk about the barbs or whatever, the barbs be on his neck or whatever, and Joe Buttons did throw up that the barbs be on your neck too, Nicki. That's why you posted a couple of things and you cut off the comments when you was posting about you and your husband or whatever the case may be with that situation. So Nicki Minaj was like, sometimes I gotta get them together to let them know what's up. So it was a lot of going back and forth, but Nicki just totally went ham. She wasn't feeling Joe Budden, and I don't blame her for not feeling him. Like, just the way that Nicki Minaj came off in the interview after, there was yelling and screaming, but Nicki Minaj said, I wasn't mad, I wasn't upset or whatever, that's just how I talk or whatever. People can get defensive about that because nobody likes to be yelled at, for number one. And then number two, you didn't really let Joe get off what he needs to say about the situation with DJ Academics and Motorsport, but Joe Buttons did interrupt, Nicki Minaj when she was actually talking to Joe Buttons about Motorsport, when, Joe Buttons was saying that was you and Cardi B, throwing bars back and forth at each other, dissing each other? Was you guys dissing each other on the track? And Nicki Minaj didn't want to answer that question, and she was saying that Joe's deflecting, Joe saying she's deflecting, and she was like, well, that's not on the same topic. He was like, yeah, it is on the same topic because we're talking about Motorsport. So it was going back and forth with that situation. And then if Joe believes that the bars between Cardi B and Nicki Minaj was going back and forth at each other, which everybody believed that they were, I even did plenty of videos on that situation, it makes it more believable that Nicki Minaj did not know that Cardi B was gonna be on the song, because if you're okay with her being on the song and you okayed it, why are you guys throwing bars at each other? You know what I'm saying? Dissing each other. And that's where Joe was coming from, where he thinks that she didn't know, and if she did know, why would she be throwing bars at negative bars at Cardi B? And if Cardi B wanted to be on the song, why would she be on a song too as well with Nicki Minaj? Why would she be throwing bars at Nicki Minaj? So it is what it is. And at one point Quavo and Nicki Minaj was supposed to be dating, and they were really close and it was cool, and Quavo was sending Nicki Minaj presents and gifts, and when Nicki Minaj was opening up her presents and her gifts on IG, that's when Joe Buttons accused her of being on drugs and being high and everything like that. Joe Buttons have kept Nicki Minaj's name in his mouth and all that the case may be, so this is a point where they can actually hash it out. But on the tense of, the pretense, it seems like they talked about, Joe Budden coming up there to, Nicki Minaj Queen radio station. They had to be cool and have a conversation, but the shit from the get-go didn't seem like it was going to go well at all, because Joe, number one, he does not like to interview artists or deal with artists. We already seen him on Complex. We don't really see him interviewing artists on the on his podcast, but he does have the rollout show. No, not the rollout show. He does have, a couple of shows on Revolt or whatever the case may be. But you know how Joe is. And Joe doesn't like to admit when he's wrong either, or he wants to let you know why he think he came to the conclusion that he's right because this and that happened, and Joe wasn't allowed to explain himself because Nicki wasn't here, because I think Nicki wanted to have that apology ASAP and wanted, Joe Buttons to admit that he was wrong after she explained herself to him, and he did it. And so she was like, you know what, he's a F-boy, so you know what, I don't even care no more. So that's what it seemed like to me. I was just like, damn, this is some crazy shit. Like, yo, I can't believe Joe Budden got told off. For a lot of people are probably like clapping their hands and happy that somebody got at Joe Buttons and cussed him out, because yes, Joe Buttons do a lot of talking, baby. So it is what it is with that situation. I was just like, It ain't nobody's business. I was just like, it was on and popping in that studio. And Joe Budden's not the fighting type anymore. He's kind of like on that low, because we heard about the story with Joe Buttons and, Offset being at the Barney's, and Joe Buttons running to the bathroom and hiding or whatever the case may be. But Joe said that didn't happen, but it is what it is. And so Nicki was going back and forth, like, rewind the tape, get the tape. She had the shit ready just in case. She knew she was going to confront Joe Buttons with the situations of things that he had said about her that was negative, and she basically had the tapes, or she had the people get it together. She know, so she been watching you, Joe, just like you've been watching Nicki. They've been watching each other. I think this interview is going to, Joe Budden's going to have material for his next show, and more material, because Joe Buttons ain't gonna take this. He said it's spicy. Joe Buttons tweeted spicy. And Nicki Minaj did her thing. Basically, her bobs are happy that she actually confronted Joe Buttons and told him how it is. And a lot of people believe that it's girl power, or whatever the case may be, but it might still, kind of hurt Nicki's image, or take the shine off of, Hot Girl Summer with Ty Dolla $ign and actually Meg, you know what I mean? That's what some people think. That's what some people are saying, that she was doing so good working with Meg, and then having this interview with Joe, kind of puts her in that dark light, because then Joe brought up situations. And so we had that situation. Like, there was two things, and Nicki Minaj was like, I don't know what's wrong with you. I keep telling you that you're wrong. But then Joe was like, yo, the situation between you and Motorsport, I think it was a trade. It was an exchange, basically some industry stuff where you do this for me, I do that for you. Whatever, if you was doing a favor for Quavo, whatever the case may be, that she feels like, Joe still feels like that Nicki didn't know, or he didn't get a chance to explain himself, that something else went down with Motorsport, and it's just not cut clear and dry like Nicki's saying. And Nicki was like, it's coming from the horse's mouth. And so Nicki was like, did your mom teach you how to lie? You a liar? You be lying or whatever? And did your mom teach you how to lie and talk about people doing drugs when you don't even know them and you never met them before? Never met them before? And Joe Budden, what you mean, like, I never met you before? And she was like, oh, at the studio you met me once. Or are you talking about the cypher? So that was like 2 times, because at first Nicki was like, you ain't never met me before, and Joe was like, yes, I did meet you, or whatever the case may be. And then she was like, you're talking about me doing drugs or whatever the case. You never seen me do no drugs. I know she said I ain't do no drugs. I mean, what are you talking about? That I do drugs, or calling me a drug addict, whatever. Why would you say some shit like that? Why would you say something about somebody you don't even know? And Joe was like, yo, listen, you gonna tell me that you ain't never did drugs before, that I never seen you do drugs, I never seen you take pills? Like, come on, get out of here with that shit. Nicki Minaj was like, what you mean? I ain't never said I ain't do no drugs. I never said I haven't took any pills, whatever the case may be. But the way that you talking and the way that you coming off like you on that, that boy type of situation. And so it went down from there. And so basically when Nicki said, well, I did not say that I haven't did this and I haven't did any drugs or whatever the case may be. And then Joe was like, I seen you. So now we understand why Joe Buttons, be on his podcast. And he has talked about Nicki Minaj doing drugs twice on his podcast. I actually did a review. I actually used to do, Joe Buttons podcast review. So you can check out my playlist. Just go to my channel and type in Joe Buttons Budden's, podcast, type in Nicki Minaj, and all the information will come up for you to check it out. And so, because I was like, Joe, you accusing this girl of doing drugs? How do you know? And now we know he's seen it for his own eyes. And she was like, oh, you don't know what I do now. You met me 2 times. You haven't seen me in like 10 years, 7 years, whatever the case may be. He was like, yo, get out of here. Don't even try to play me with that. Don't even try to play me with that. And so then that's when Nicki Minaj was like, shut up. And basically it was like she didn't want that part of what Joe was trying to say to come out, and she felt like it was disrespectful for him to even bring that situation up, because it probably was years ago whenever he's seen Nicki Minaj do whatever the case that she may be. And then when he's saying that, oh, you gonna tell me you ain't never did nothing, you ain't never did this, and she was like, I didn't say that. So they was going back and forth on that situation. So that was like really like the straw that hit the last straw that hit the camel's back, and the camel done collapsed and couldn't care to wait no more. And she was just like, get out my studio, caught his mic off, get out of here, he's so disrespectful and all types of stuff. And she was going in. And I know Maul stayed, and I know Rory stayed. They stayed and they had conversations. And Nicki Minaj was like, Joe Budden is jealous of me because we came up at the same time, and I blew up before he blew up. And he's probably jealous of me at the cypher. I was just like, oh no. Jealous of me at the cypher. So I was just like, this is just way too much going on. I was just like, yo, are you serious? And this is a cypher where Nicki said that, he probably was jealous because I was rapping and doing my damn thing. I was just like, yo. And I know Joe Budden is going to be pissed at any of his friends that stayed back and had a conversation with Nicki Minaj. Nicki Minaj was like, anybody, I'm not going to address any more males anymore at all, point blank, period. If they have something to say about me, they going to have to talk to my husband. And her husband was like, yeah, they going to have to deal with me. And she was like, ghostwriters that are writing for people, dissing me, you're going to have to deal with my husband. Now I got a husband, and he's going to take care of the business in the situation. And I think it was Maul that asked, her about the cigarette or whatever. And Maul basically was like, yo, I don't even know why people hate on you so much and all this other stuff. And Nicki said it came from Charlamagne dissing her, and Charlamagne not liking her because Charlamagne was cool, I believe, with Safari. And then basically he ran with that narrative, and he just stopped liking her. And then you had Fendi, but she said, we already know Nicki Minaj and Fendi did make up and the whole nine like that. But it was just crazy the way it went down. I thought it was going to be better than that, but they needed a mediator in there. And it's entertainment. Let me tell you, it was definitely entertaining. It was very entertaining. Nicki Minaj was just like a lot of guys and a lot of rappers, and she thinks that Joe Budden is jealous of her because she made it more and rap than he did, and it was basically going to the same studio. They had about the same people working with them, and she flew up. So if that's the case, Nicki, then why did you say that Joe ain't never met you a day in his life? What's going on? And then you also had Meek Mills talk about that he seen Nicki Minaj do a lot of drugs, and he was doing a lot of drugs with her, and she put him on a lot of drugs. That's what Meek Mills said about Nicki Minaj. And so, and I think Rory did say, it was either Rory or Parks that had said that, Nicki Minaj, you rap about drugs all the time in your song. And I think she said that to Joe Buttons too, and Joe Buttons was like, you rap about drugs all the time. She was like, well, mad rappers rap about drugs and they don't be doing drugs or whatever. And Joe was like, you gonna tell me you don't do no drugs? And that was it. That was over. The interview was done. You tell me what you guys think about the situation. Who was right and who was wrong in your opinion? I was just like, OMG, peace them out. Peep Squad is in the building. Let me know whose side you on. You on Joe or you on Nicki's side, or you just think the interview was entertaining and Joe's gonna have a whole hell of a podcast that I'm gonna have to check out. I haven't seen Joe Budden's podcast in a minute, but I'm gonna have to check this one out because I know, and he comes out on Wednesday, right? It's gonna be lit, baby. Peace him out.